Hi Janesville, welcome to Park Place Views, brought to you by the City of Janesville and JATVMedia Services. I'm your host Molly Nolte, and I'm the Management Information Specialist in the City Manager's Office. This monthly program aims to keep Janesville residents informed by highlighting the people, places, events, and partners in the City of Janesville. On last month's episode, we spent some time with Chief Rhodes and the men and women of the Janesville Fire Department at the Central Fire Station. If you haven't checked it out, you most certainly should. Past episodes of Park Place Views are available to watch on the city's website or JATV's YouTube channel. On this month's episode, I'm excited to be hanging out with the other Chief of Janesville, Mr. David Moore of the Janesville Police Department. Chief Moore began his law enforcement career in 1977 with the Janesville Police Department. He holds a bachelor's degree from Mount Scenario College in Criminal Justice Administration and a master's degree in Public and Corporate Communication from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. After a national search, he was appointed police chief in April of 2009. He's a graduate of the FBI National Academy and Northwestern University's School of Police Staff and Command. Chief Moore is a lifelong Janesville resident and is active in many community groups, including Janesville Morning Rotary. Welcome back to another episode of Park Place Views, Chief Moore.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks for joining us here today. So is there anything else that you can tell us about yourself other than what I've covered already?
Well, years ago, I wanted to get into police work because I didn't want to have to sit behind a desk, and that's all I do now, so I'm questioning my long-term success, but it's been a good run.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. So you have been on the department for just a little over, or just almost 42 years.
Just about 42 years,
yes. That's amazing. And about 10 years as chief.
Yes.
Very impressive. So in those 42 years and 10 years as chief, how have you seen things in police services change?
Well, it's changed a lot. Certainly the technology has changed. When I started, we had a radio and 2 red lights on top of the car, and we were told to go out in the community and do good things. And we certainly didn't have the technology that officers have with respect to computers, LED lights, and body cameras, and the higher technology pieces. So that certainly has changed. But along with that comes a different type of crime because of technology and the various scams we hear of all the time, which changes our position. But probably more importantly is the types of calls that our officers go on and the demand of our officers. I can tell you it's significant. These officers are very busy out in the field, and the types of calls have changed. We see the mental health issues that we didn't see even a decade ago. We see issues with opiates and addictions that fuel other crimes as well. So it has changed, and it continues to change.
I think I heard a statistic recently from one of your office that about 40% or so calls are mental health related or has some sort of a basis in that.
Yeah, that's the national number. About 40% have some, again, basis with a mental health issue, yes.
Interesting. So I've been hearing some people talk in the community recently that there's a perspective out there that there's actually more crime happening and giving people more reason to be afraid, in their community or in their neighborhood. So I'm interested to know if you agree with that, if you see that that's what's happening, or if you can kind of comment about the crime rate and things going on in Janesville.
Yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon. The crime is down, and it's down significantly when you look at a 25-year trend. We're down to almost the lowest crime rate we have seen over those 25 years. But you're right, the perception of crime, at least for some people, they don't feel that we're at a 25-year low. I think there's a number of reasons for it, and actually we're the cause of some of it. Certainly the media covers crime as it occurs all across our nation. We have made the intentional effort to share as much information that we can with crime that occurs in the community. So you get this constant information of crime in the community, and certainly can give the perception that it's perhaps unsafe. So that's our part in it, but we are dedicated to sharing that information so citizens can protect themselves. But clearly the data shows that the crime is down. Janesville's more safe probably than it has been in a very, very long time.
That's good news. So despite these low numbers, which are great, any community still faces its own challenges. So What are the priorities of the JPD? What do you guys, what are you tackling the most?
Let me tell you our philosophy. We are constantly watching the types of issues that are occurring in this community, and then we put initiatives in place to address them. And simultaneous to that, we are watching what's going on in the nation and monitoring that and thinking that that could come to Janesville, so we're putting initiatives in place for that as well. So, for example, we know that domestic violence is an issue across this nation. It's an issue in our community. About 2/3 of our homicides, we don't have many, but 2/3 of our homicides are domestic related, so we put a lot of resources into helping victims of domestic violence and to get out of that cycle of violence. Last year, we lost 14 of our citizens to opiate overdoses. And so we have put resources into our heroin and opiate investigations and assistance. I have one officer that works heroin investigations and assistance full-time. He's called our drop officer. It's death, rehab, or prison, because those are the outcomes. And he works with those individuals that are addicted to heroin and opiates. And when there's an overdose, he's getting up in the middle of the night. It's Officer Chad Woodman. Gets up in the middle of the night, meets with the overdose victim, and offers that help and the services that are available in our community, offers coaches to help these individuals, all in hopes of breaking that addiction and getting the help that they need.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's very interesting. And it sounds like, like you said, with 14 deaths, there's definitely a reason to have someone like that dedicated just to that. So that's good to know. Let's change gears just a little bit. So we were kind of talking about how things have changed in the course of just your career in police work. And as time goes on, equipment changes. Is there anything that JPD has going on that's new? Any new programs or new equipment that your department's utilizing?
There's probably two areas that we are using, and we're ahead of the curve a little bit. Body cameras. We've had various types of body cameras for about a decade. We've grown very accustomed to them, and we see the value in body cameras because it really takes away any question as to what has happened on a scene. It takes away any question as to what an officer has done. Certainly helps at trial time to have that video footage as to what has occurred.
Excellent. So it didn't seem like it for a while there, but summer is actually on the way. It's been a very cold winter, kind of a cold spring, but summer means fun activities, getting out there and doing a lot of stuff, but summer can also sometimes mean risk or danger. So do you have any summer safety tips that you can share with our viewers?
Yeah, certainly. We have children and adults out on bicycles, and we need to be more careful, not only for the bicyclists, but for drivers to be on the lookout. We certainly urge all bicyclists to wear helmets. We know that can help with those injuries. Motorcycles. There are many more motorcycles out this time of year, and all of us need to be more aware of those motorcycles and make sure that we don't have those types of crashes, because many times they're very tragic when we have a car versus motorcycle crash. Our alcohol consumption seems to increase over the summer, and along with that comes conflict. So, be careful on alcohol intake. Avoid conflict if you can, and it avoids us becoming involved.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Good tips. And then along with summer, JPD is involved in a lot of kind of different events. So can you talk to us a little bit about what your men and women will be doing over the summer, any special events coming up?
Yeah, it's a pretty busy time for us. We have our National Night Out in August, and we'll have about 5,000 people down around the police department for National Night Out. And I can tell you this year's going to be special because the Rock County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Knutson has decided to join with us, so they're going to bring all of their assets and their visitors, so we think it'll be a very, very large event. We have the 4th of July event down around Traxler Park, which we have every year. Freedom Fest out around Wright Road and Highway 14, that's in later June. We have the bike rodeo. Officer Sullivan puts together the bike rodeo. We'll give away 60 bikes to kids that need them. That's in June. And then we have the Tour of America's Dairyland bike race in late June as well. So it's a busy time for us. But I want to direct you to a particular effort that we do over the summer. So much of our work is based upon building trust with our citizens, trust with our kids. And National Night Out is a great thing, and we get a lot of kids down there and a lot of people. But as we stepped back and looked at what we were doing with National Night Out, we really didn't have that good quality, almost one-on-one time with individuals in the community. And so while we enjoy it and it's a value, we kind of stepped back and said, you know what, if we take a picnic, so to speak, maybe a small National Night Out to a defined neighborhood, and we pick neighborhoods where people don't trust us. And what our officers have done is we'll go to a neighborhood where we want to make contact with citizens and earn their trust. And through some local funding, we've got a trailer and a grill and some music and games for the kids. And we will target about a 6 or 8 block area. We'll hand out flyers inviting these citizens to come in. And we'll block off the street, and we'll start up the grills, and officers come down, and a lot of the kids will come out of the homes, and we'll have about 50 to 75 is what our target audience is. But it gives us a much better chance to meet with citizens who don't necessarily trust us, children that don't trust us, and we can build those relations and learn more about the neighborhood and be a more successful department. Sometimes we will have those neighborhood outings right in front of a suspected drug house. Another time we had a SWAT operation at a house, and it was concerning to the neighborhood. So we had that neighborhood outing right in front of where a week before we were out there with the SWAT team. But it's, again, having people feel comfortable in their neighborhoods, know that they have the support of the police department, and building those relations.
That's wonderful. I've seen some of the pictures of those events, and it always looks like everyone's smiling and having a great time, and great to see the officers, playing with, kids and jump rope and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's all good as long as it doesn't rain.
Yep, absolutely. That's exciting. So we're just about out of time. Chief, can you think of anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers?
We spend a lot of time looking at use of force, and we train our officers a lot with respect to proper communication, proper respect to our citizens, the ability of different uses of force rather than deadly force. And so that's been a focus of the department over the last few years here. In fact, we have people trained in ICAT, training, integrated communication and tactics. It's the cutting edge type of training that we have, and we think that that is successful. I see many incidents that occur out in the community with our officers where a higher level of force justifiably could have been used, but these officers are highly trained. They know how to disengage, almost take a time out, buy us some time, buy us some distance, and have a much more favorable outcome.
Absolutely.
But the last item I'd like to leave with our citizens is, if you see something suspicious, if you see something that doesn't look right, please give us a call. So many crimes have been solved or avoided because we get those calls. All of our violent crimes in Janesville, and we don't have a lot of them, but all of them that we have, whether it has guns, knives, a homicide, we look at as many factors as we can as to why it happened, who it happened to, where, when. And the one theme that we found when we looked at all of those issues was that oftentimes there was some conflict that occurred preceding the event, the use of the knife, the use of the gun, the homicide. But there was some type of conflict. And so what we have told our officers is, when you get sent on a call where there's conflict, make sure that we solve it, that we drill down, find out what's causing the conflict, and get it fixed at this level so we don't have that increased violence in the community. Yeah. And that's where our citizens can help us, because if they see conflict, if they know of conflict in a family, if they know of conflict in the neighborhood, give us a call. You don't have to give your name.
Right.
We'll figure it out, and hopefully it makes for, well, I know it will make for a more safe community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for those closing thoughts. We've covered a lot today, and those were my last questions for you. But if anyone needed to reach out and maybe ask you another question, is there a way they could get a hold of you?
Certainly. My direct number right in my office, you don't have to go through anybody, 755-3142. And if I'm there, I'll answer the phone. We'll have a discussion and see if we can help you out.
Excellent. Well, thank you again so much, Chief Moore, for taking some time out of your very busy schedule to sit down and talk with me and update us on JPD and what's going on this summer, and just great work done by the men and women in your department. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks. And thank you, viewers at home, for tuning in. On next month's episode of Park Place Views, we hope to catch up with Timothy Maas, Director of the Rock County Historical Society, as well as his staff, so we can learn about what our CHS has been up to. In addition to tuning into this program on a monthly basis, stay connected to the City of Janesville by following us on Facebook or Twitter. The City of Janesville also has a new LinkedIn account, so you can join the discussion there. You can also sign up to receive emails with our press releases and other important information. And you can subscribe to get emergency alerts from the Janesville Police Department on Nixle. For Park Place Views and the City of Janesville, I'm Molly Nolte. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next month.